Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Hope you had a great weekend. Well, it's Monday, and so to business. Our guest this morning is Samuel Arunwa. Samuel Arunwa is the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs. I want to thank you very much, Sam, for joining us on the program. Oh dear. I was saying good morning, Sam. Does that mean that you couldn't hear me?
Yes.
We were speaking.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Here.
Indeed, it is our pleasure because I'm sure you're going to be helping us understand better from the perspective of not just a person on ground, but also the government official directly responsible for these matters. Because we want to look at Kaduna's security threats and efforts to contain them. Maybe because it's, it depends on how it goes, but there's so much, I imagine, that can be said about this whole matter. So I want to jump in, if I may, with both feet. We're looking at the situation where Kaduna State reportedly has been taken over by bandits, a large swathe of it. And in case, according to newspaper reports, some are even saying, especially when I say some, I have to be specific, SOKAPU, the Southern Kaduna People's Union, with especially the official, the top official, Aweni Dio Maisamari, has said that areas such as, Chikwa, Kajuru, Kachia, Zangun Kataf, Kaure, Lere, Biriningwari, and Giwa local councils are actually almost ghost towns, almost empty, and this is worrying. First of all, let me get your commentary on that. As I said, I'm quoting a report by the Southern Kaduna People's Union. Is it as serious as that? We'll get to the next level, which is contents of the leaked memo, the leaked alleged memo of your governor to the president. But first of all those villages that I cited, do you agree that those places are ghost towns now and the bandits have taken over and are running an administration there?
All right. Thank you very much for having me once again. And before I proceed to attend to your question, I like to explain to you that government of Kaduna State is not in any way sharing constitutional responsibilities with any organization or individuals. The responsibility of security and safety of Kaduna State is entirely in the hands of government in terms of security management. And I will not attend to issues raised by groups or individuals. Why I am saying so is because I am seated in your studio as the Chief Security Information Officer of Kaduna State. Kaduna State government has all the details regarding what is happening across the state. Security agencies have footprint across the entire 46,000 square kilometers of the state. So to answer your question straight, I like you to know that there are indeed security challenges across the state. And we have local government areas that are front line. Birningwari, Chukun, Giwa, Igabi, Kajuru, Zangwan Kataf, and Kauru local government areas. These are local government areas that are categorized, as front line, main flash points. We also have locations that are experiencing security challenges, But then the problems there cannot be put in the same category with the first category I did mention. So it's true, in Birnin Gwari, we have security challenges, especially in the Kuyelo district. If you look at old Kuyelo to Kwasa Kwasa, to Randagi, Angwam Makera, Damari, and other locations in Birnin Gwari Central, we have challenges. It is a mixture of banditry and also the Ansaru terrorists who are operating in those locations. Now, if you also look at the Chukun general area, because we have boundaries with Niger State, especially around the Galibi general area up to Damba, Kasaya, yes, we have problems there. But as we speak, security forces are presently carrying out operation. It's a unified operation. Apart from the ground troops that are working there, there is also the air components that are complementing what they are doing. So if you also look at Kaduna-Abuja route, the Operation Thunder Strike have been strengthened. More men have been added to the locations. The Nigerian police is also working assiduously on Kaduna-Abuja road with Operation Puff Adder. And people that are applying the route will inform you, you can check that indeed there is significant progress along the Kaduna-Abuja route that straddle 3 local government areas, namely Chukun, Kachia, and Kagarku. So if you also look at the Kajuru local government general area, indeed we have problems there. But then troops are presently working in this local government area, extending up to Kachia. And if you also look at the Zongwan Kataf and Kauru local government areas, Operation Safe Haven, which is a defense headquarters response team to these LGAs, are working in these locations. And the area, to some extent, have been quiet. We've been making inroads, and we are keenly watching what is happening in these locations, talking about Zongwan Kataf and Kauru local government area. The problem with Kauru local government is the fact that there is a boundary between Kauru and Basa local government area of Plateau State. Once there's a problem in Plateau, it escalates to our own part. And the same thing, if there's a problem in our own part, it escalates there. But of recent, we have been talking with Plateau State government. We've been working, we've been comparing notes, we've been reviewing a lot of things, and to some extent, we are making significant progress. Even though we are beginning to have a problem in Lere because of proximity with Pelgore Forest. You know, Pelgore Forest in Kano State straddle 2 local government areas, Tudunwada and Dogwa. And in Kaduna, Kubau and Lere also have boundaries with these 2 local government areas. So we have an interstate committee, which I am chairing, you know, with Kano State, and we are also following development in these locations, like I mentioned. So if you also move around Giwa local government that has boundary with some local government areas in Katsina, notably Sabwa and Danja, the Forward Engineering Regiment of Nigerian Army in that location, they have also been working very hard. So in a nutshell, what is happening in Kaduna is not a problem that is restricted to Kaduna State alone. It's a problem that is happening in neighboring states and is coming into here. But within the last week, if you are following event, you will quite agree with us that we have been making inroads in most of these locations, and operation is still in progress. For operational and some sensitive reasons, I will not be able to say much about the ongoing operation. But what is very clear is we are making progress. It's a unified approach. It's something that involves different stakeholders. And with the commitment and dedication that we are seeing, by the special grace of God, we will be able to maintain the tempo. So this is what I can say regarding the present security situation across the state. What is happening in Kaduna State, like I said, and I will reiterate, it is not something that is applicable to Kaduna State alone, no. It's a problem that is happening in the northwest zone, but Kaduna State is very strategic by virtue of its location. That is why if there's a problem in Kaduna, it becomes a talk of town and it has a lot of attention. But I like you to know, and I like you to do a post-information verification of what I am saying here, that security forces, government, and other critical stakeholders are working assiduously. And by the special grace of God, we will sustain the tempo, and we believe that this will go a long way, you know, in guaranteeing security and safety across the state.
Okay. Mr. Commissioner, I appreciate when at the beginning, when I had said that, look, Kaduna State is virtually, it's under siege and it's run by an alternative administration. By the way, that bit was reportedly in a memo to the president that was leaked. But I appreciate the explanation you've just given, that because of the neighbors of Kaduna and, you know, therefore the proximity, they share common borders in some cases. I can understand when you say some of it spills over into Kaduna. But observers have, you know, and I want your opinion on this statement. They say the area of Kaduna that is ungovernable, quote unquote, is in the region of the size of Imo State. So that's why it's concerning that, okay, Kaduna has its landmass, but if, according to some, you know, sources, an area as large as Kaduna, I mean, as large as Imo, is not under the control of the government because of outlaws, let it be said, that's a problem. You spoke about Ansaru, for example, and yeah, people have, you know, heard about them. But they say that they've set up taxation regimes and they're carrying on generally as if they were constituted authority. Now, when you said constitutional authority is not shared with anyone, of course not. But these people don't bother about the Constitution. They are doing it, and apparently because they seem to be able to do so. And that is the concern. I've heard what you've just said, but how long do you think this will take? First of all, give me your comments, if you will, on this whole matter about outlaws setting up administrations and taking taxes and generally carrying on as if they were constituted authority, and the people seem to have no choice.
Well, first and foremost, you really have to get me well. You were trying to ask me a question. You are trying to ask me a question that will relate me responding to a position of a particular group. So it is on that promise that I said that I will not be able to respond to groups or individuals, because government of Kaduna State is not sharing constitutional responsibility with groups or individuals. And I
but
also
Mr.
went
Commissioner,
for that
I tried to make the distinction that these are outlaws. They're not relying on the Constitution.
I'm coming
that
to
Kaduna
I'm
a
coming there.
constitutional entity.
The issue of outlaws is not something that we are denying. It's not something that we are denying. If you also look at the economy of banditry, you know, these outlaws have sources that they get funds. Apart from selling of rustle cattle, apart from ransom, there is also issue of taxation, where they tax communities before they allow them to work on their farmlands. So we are not denying that. But what I want you to know is government of Kaduna State is working assiduously with federal security agencies and other critical stakeholders across the state. We have incorporated the traditional institution and other critical stakeholders into the security architecture of the state. As I speak to you, we have 3 traditional rulers who sit on the Kaduna State Security Council. Their Royal Highnesses, the Emir of Zazzau, the Emir of Benengwari, and the Pope Gong from the Southern Kaduna General area. Then, if you also come to the local government level, there is Local Government Security Committee. Apart from the Local Government Security Committee, there is also a system, that help government to get security information or intelligence from the ward head to village head to district head up to the graded chiefs. So what I'm trying to say here is this: government or security agencies are not in any way short of information or what is happening across the state. And it is also not correct, to say that government or security agencies are doing nothing regarding the situation that we have found ourselves. And I also like you to know that the summary of what we are experiencing is actually accumulation of problems that were left unattended. You have to look at the origin of banditry. You also have to distinguish farmer-herder conflict and banditry. Farmer-herder conflict is an inevitable conflict, but banditry is purely a criminal or terrorism, and it is blind to religion, it is blind to ethnicity or political persuasion, like some people will want to portray, So what we want you to know is the fact that why you are hearing more about Kaduna State is because Kaduna State is strategically located. Why you are also hearing more about Kaduna State is because Kaduna State is the first subnational to be coming out and give security update, informing members of the general public a number of people that are kidnapped, number of people that are killed, number of people that are injured, number of cattle that are rustled, and other problems. Added to that, there are a lot of people that have failed to divorce politics and security. For them, the best way they can extend their political mileage, the best way that they feel they can be able to mobilize their political front is to dwell so much on security challenges, ignoring gains, ignoring inroads that federal security agencies are achieving across the state. And at times, when I hear people saying that the military, the police, and other security agencies are doing nothing, I just get worried. Why do I say I get worried? I get worried because from the very moment that you come on the television or you are on the radio, casting aspersions on our defense and security forces, we like them to know that there are orphans who are orphaned as a result of sacrifices that their parents have paid the ultimate price for our own country. There are women and men out there who have lost their breadwinners, who happen to be their children, but they have paid the ultimate price, making sacrifice that we will have stability in our own country. So this is what we want as some of these people who usually appear on the television or on the radio to be making generalizations that have no basis. And by the time you do post-information verification of what most of these people are saying, you realize that most of what they are saying are not correct. On the 9th of August, for instance, I listened to your program where someone was saying that it is all propaganda, nothing significantly has been achieved on the Kaduna-Abuja road. And I smile because I know it is false. I also listened to the same person who was saying that there is no debriefing exercise, that is taking place in Kaduna. Immediately, those in captivity are freed. It is not correct. If we are debriefing those that have been freed, we don't need to come on the pages of newspapers. We don't need to come on the television or radio and announce and publicize to say that this is what we are doing or this is not what we are doing. And I also want you to know that we are conscious of the responsibility. We are conscious of the fact that the primary responsibility of government is security, law, and order. Indeed. But then, if you look at the problems that we are facing, it is not a problem that you can narrow down to Kaduna with a politicized mind aimed at getting a political mileage. You have to look at the origin of banditry. You have to look at the economy. You have to look at the expenditure. You have to look at other drivers. You also have to interrogate the poor management of our borders, with the wide-scale proliferation of small arms and light weapons, which have made these outlaws to have arms and ammunition at will. You also have to look at the infrastructural deficit. You also have to look at the justice system. It is also important we look at it this way, that from the beginning of this problem, there are people who tend to look at this problem as purely a header community problem, ignoring the fact that, this is something that had escalated as a result of poor management, which I have said it here, that what we are presently witnessing is accumulation of problems that were left unattended over time.
Let me interject there, if you will. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Now, in relation to some of the things you said, far be it from us to, trivialize the noble sacrifices of gallant troops and men in uniform. No, we appreciate the seriousness of the matter and that. But as they say, a stitch in time saves 9. Now, it has been alleged, and you might attribute it to politics, I don't know, but it has been alleged that for a long while earlier on, Governor El-Rufai did not pay what some would have considered the serious attention necessary. At that time, the governor reportedly was wanting proof. Let people who were saying things that sounded a bit political, where is the proof? And as you said, you are not going to respond to any group or individual, but Sokapu did respond by saying, oh, is that the game? We can tell you all of these whole areas. Now, particularly the charge that Governor El-Rufai did not respond when the problem might have been more in hand than it is now. How do you find that accusation?
That is not correct. In 2015, when we came on board, the governor was the first in the Northwest to call for collaboration with neighboring states. At that time, what was the major problem across the Northwest was cattle rustling. And the states came together. And there were simultaneous operations across the state against the cattle rustlers. And indeed, we made progress. But furthermore, much of the work, was slowed, and at the end of the day, we begin to have these symptoms of kidnapping and the intense bandit attacks that we witness from that point. So to come on board to say that government of Kaduna State in the beginning did not pay attention to this issue is not correct. Most of these people who are making these allegations are making these allegations, you know, with political undertones, which we know. Because the problems in Zamfara, the problems in Niger, the problems in Sokoto, Kebbi, and other parts of the country, are they saying that the problems there are different from what we have in Kaduna? If there is a bandit attack in Zamfara State, the media and people that are making commentaries, most of them will say, they will refer to it as bandit attacks. But if there is such attack in Kaduna Central and even some parts of central Nigeria, they give it religious or ethnic coloration. So these are some of the problems. And I have argued here to you that from the very moment one is making commentaries on security issues with prejudice, biases, and a lot of emotions and sentiment, you will not get it right. But if you want to make comments, if you want to discuss issue of security, you have to look at the issue without being emotional. You have to look at the issue without politicizing the issue. The problems of security in Kaduna State, like I told you, and I still insist, is not a problem of the negligence of government. We all know where we are coming from. This is a country with over 200 million people with less than 500,000 policemen. Birningwari is over 6,000 square kilometers, twice bigger than Lagos. You know, if you look at countries like America, that has over, in America, there are over 300 million people, but they have active 1.4 military strength. And you have millions of policemen, because apart from the federal police, there is the state police, there is also county police, and there are even private police. So the issues that are happening in Kaduna State cannot be looked into without making reference to our present reality. But I want you to know that we are not living in denial. We are not saying that we don't have a problem. But what are we doing? Are we not doing something? We are doing something. I have just explained to you. I have reeled out to you different operations, different deployments of federal security agencies that are working across the state. And it may also, it may also interest you to know that Kaduna State is the first state in the Federation to set up a ministry dedicated to security. About 7 or 8 states had followed suit. The primary focus of the Ministry of Internal Security and Home Affairs is to liaise with federal security agencies, is to coordinate internal security, is to also coordinate intelligence gathering. And this is what we are doing. So whatever you are doing in Nigeria, people will accuse you of not doing your best. But the most important thing is for you to continue to do your best. But I want you to know that the silent majority who are following the event in Kaduna are in the picture, and they know that government of Kaduna State and federal security agencies are doing their best. And we will not be deterred by biases and prejudice and emotional commentaries. We will press forward, we will double what we are doing, we will scale up, and there is no going back. We are conscious of the responsibility that is hanging on our shoulders, and we will not relent. And we also feel that the media is, some section of the media is also doing some harm instead of good, as far as this issue of security is concerned. And I'll explain much later if time permits.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Commissioner. Samuel Arunwa is the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs. And we'll take a break now, Commissioner. And when we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Do stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back. And our guest is Samuel Arunwa. He's the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs. And we're grateful to him for this conversation. He's made himself available to for this conversation. Now, he explained, and one can understand as a government official, that he's not very keen to respond or engage with individuals or groups. Instead, he'd rather say what government has been doing and is doing and will continue to do. But it still is a very serious affair. According to reports, the group, one of the groups that you said you are loath to really comment about, Ansaru al-Muslimina fi Bilad al-Sudan, also known as Ansaru, reportedly have promulgated something, I don't know, since they're not a proper organ, but they've made a promulgation banning citizens from participating in the 2023 elections. Now, Kaduna elders reportedly have actually advised the president that this is a serious threat to the sovereignty of the country, showing how seriously their eminences take this matter. And as you said, they are also part of a government committee to monitor and see what can be done about this matter, which you said is a continuing and an ongoing process. But this whole matter, when you look at it, they actually are saying that certain citizens of Nigeria will not, under peril of, reprisals, participate in the election. Your comments, please.
Well, first and foremost, if you look at the 2020 and 2021 security reports of Kaduna State, we actually talk about the intersection between the armed bandits and Boko Haram alongside with Ansaru. We said that in our 2020 and 2021 reports. And we also reported some of this development and our projections to the federal government and federal security forces that are carrying out internal security operations in the states. So it's not something that we are just knowing. Most of these issues, government is aware of them, and we table most of these issues before the appropriate authorities. It is not something that I will have to say more about it here, but to the best of my knowledge and what I want you to know is the federal security forces are not taking it for granted, these issues that we have been reporting to them. They are doing their best. We are conscious of the issue of stopping citizens from exercising their civic responsibilities and other obligations of theirs. We are conscious of that, and the federal security forces have been briefed, like I said, and they are working on it. The centers of gravity have been identified across the general area, and I will not want to go beyond what I have said here. And I also want to further clarify to you, there are many sociocultural organizations or associations, unions or forums across Kaduna State. So if Kaduna State will continue to respond or engage groups who have no footprint on the exact security situation of the state, we will lose focus. And we don't want to lose focus. So we are conscious of what is happening. As I sat here in your studio before the commencement of this event, I have received multiple reports of what is happening right now. So government is not living in isolation. And the footprint that government and security forces have goes beyond the reach of individuals or groups. This is what I want you to know. If that is your own standard of assessing the situation or the reality of what is happening in the state, well, I will not contest that. We are in democracy. But what I want you to know, that the security problems that we are facing in Kaduna State, like I said, is not a problem that is applicable to Kaduna State alone. If other states will come up with their own statistics, if other states will give you an idea into what is happening, you will realize that what is happening in Kaduna State is even a child's play. But what we are seeing is this. Security issues are issues that must be handled with sensitivity. They are issues that must not be handled with emotions, prejudice, and politics. They are issues that we must look at it. If you look at the impact of this banditry and terrorism, it has cost us so much. You look at the threat to education and learning. You know, most of the schools that are located in hard-to-reach areas could not really operate or function. You also have to look at the consequences on health sector, because most of health facilities that are located in these locations cannot be able to function, and that people who have one problem or the other, who may want to access the primary health care facilities that domicile in these locations, find it very difficult. You also have to look at the food security, because majority of rural dwellers, they are farmers. So the implication on food security is also there. You also look at the rural economy, because what holds the rural economy is the fact that communities that live within the hard-to-reach areas congregate through the mobile weekly market. You know, that is rural economy. Now, with these problems, the rural economy is gradually collapsing. You also look at the social cohesion, because it is a threat to social cohesion. So now, when you look at the negative consequences of banditry, you will realize that what is important is for us to look at things beyond the prism of sentiment, beyond the issue of religion, beyond the issue of ethnicity, beyond issue of politics. What is important is the fact that what do we do? How do we get actionable intelligence? How do we get information that will help us, you know, to have an edge over most of these criminals that are operating across the state? You know, these are some of the issues. But by the time we begin to dwell so much on the issue of religion, on the issue of ethnicity, you know, it doesn't help the situation. The bullets of these outlaws chooses no one. Everyone is a victim of this problem. So some section of the media, you know, they are complicating this issue when they begin to stereotype, when they begin to come with content
I beg your pardon.
that talks about
you're a journalist yourself.
A particular set
you
of
yourself, people. You yourself are of that constituency, and so you understand that things will be reported. This is not strange to you. You're a journalist yourself, and because you've, you know, really sort of you bemoaned the shall I say, the role that you think the media is
I said some.
playing?
I said some. I said some section.
Some.
I did not
yes,
generalize.
Some. And I'm going to quote one, for example. The Guardian very recently, I think it was about a week or a fortnight ago, reported, when he did a report on this, reported that Northern elders, Northern leaders, including Arunwa elders, and the Christian Association of Nigeria, as well as Jama'atu Nasir Islam, JNI, and other Islamic leaders, that they are actually saying that the acceptance of Governor El-Rufai of the existence of a parallel government operating in the state is a big issue that, and everybody knows that Governor El-Rufai, he has no patience whatsoever for these folks. This is after he had tried to engage with them and they didn't change. In fact, I heard recently the governor was saying that he is not buying any of that stuff anymore, that there's any such thing as a repentant bandit. He said the only repentant bandit is the one that is dead. Let him go and repent to God. So the governor feels betrayed. He explored perhaps extraordinary means and was betrayed. So now elders like the Christian Association of Nigeria, JNI, and other people, even though you've explained it and we appreciate it and we're thankful for the explanation we're getting, because you have, shall we say, day-to-day updates on the situation. What we've heard is that the situation is the way it is and that government is not relenting, but there still is a very, very serious affair in terms of security going on in Kaduna State, which the media will report. The media will report. And you have said that it's not always that this is helpful.
Well, the issue is that I think I wouldn't want us to mix apple and orange.
Okay.
You know, our position is very clear. Government of Kaduna State is not opposed to reporting of security happenings across the state. You know, what I am saying is the fact that some section of the media, what they do, the way and manner they carry reports, you know, that don't divorce security challenges with politics and religion and ethnicity does not help the situation.
Okay.
Because if there is an attack in Birnin Wari, you said you report the matter as a bandit attack. But if there's the same problem in Kajuru, you report the issue as religious. I don't think that is helpful. From the very moment we begin to talk about religion, to talk about ethnicity, I believe we are giving shield to criminals. We should look at the actions of individuals, and we should hold the individuals by what the laws said about what they do or the offense they commit. You know,
Okay.
but by the time you generalize, by the time you stereotype and categorize a group of people, you know, and classify them as bandits, I don't think that is helpful. That is not fair, and it will not help the situation. But what we are saying is this: we should look at the quantum, we should look at the actions of criminals. Whosoever that attack community is a terrorist. And there is no basis simply because a member of my ethnic group commit a particular offense, then you generalize and categorize my community as criminals. It is not helpful. It is not something that will help to understand or contain the situation. And the issue of the governor's admission or trying to find a common ground or middle ground in the past, well, it is practicable in all conflict. You know, if you are trying to contain a situation, you cannot close all the options. You know, there might be backdoor conversation, there will be outreach here and there. But by the time you explore, all that you think is available for you to do, and the result is not forthcoming, then you change tactics. Our position that government will not negotiate, government will not give amount of money to outlaws is still here with us. We have not
Okay.
changed that position. But again,
And what is
our
happening,
doors
as you
are
know,
wide
what is
open.
happening, as you
If
must have heard,
individuals have complained, if
that
individuals felt that they have one grievance or grievances, yes, we listen to them, we hear them. If it is something that we can manage, we do that. But for
okay,
people who will come into our communities to raid, to maim, to kill, to burn, to strip our citizens of their freedom, we don't think there's a need to do anything with them. The full wrath of the law should be applied onto them, and this is our position. But the issue
indeed,
of
I hear you.
people
Samuel.
coming to blame government of Kaduna State, we know the intent. Some of these intent are politically motivated commentaries. But again, they
Okay.
have the right. This is
You've said that more
democracy.
than once. Your son, when I say your son, one of your prominent sons, Senator Shehu Sani, when he was in the Senate, brought this up on the stage, on the floor of the Senate, and has alleged things that it wasn't, because of this political, the apprehension that what he was saying might have been for political benefit, he has alleged, it's out there in the public, that his warnings, suggestions, contributions were completely wiped out and not taken seriously. According to him, it might have been different if indeed more credence had been given to what was told on the floor of the Senate at the time, at least for investigative purposes. Now, that must be one of those things that you refer to as people probably commenting, putting out information for political benefit, I'm sure.
Well, I think
I can hear you.
I think people have the right to make their position, but to the best of my knowledge, there is nothing that some people who are playing to the gallery are saying that is true of their assertion. For a very long time, we are conscious and we are aware of our situation. We don't need people who play to the gallery, to tell us the exact nature of our problem. I have explained to you the footprint, of government and security forces and traditional institutions and other components of the security architecture of the state. So his views are clearly his own views. That could be your standard, that could be your compass, but as far as we are concerned, we are conscious of what is happening in our state, and what is happening in Kaduna, like I said, and I will still argue it, is not something that is applicable to Kaduna State alone.
Well, thank you, Samuel. At least you say that the government in Kaduna is not unaware of how dire the situation is, but what you have been at great pains to put out and have done so quite clearly is that the government is not just sitting on its hands. The government, in collaboration with so many agencies, including those from the federal government, are addressing and confronting these issues on a daily basis. Well, I want to thank you very much, Samuel Arunwa, Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, for coming on our program for coming on our program to shed light on these issues. That much we've got. It's a serious problem. You're not unaware of it, but you've also said that you, for instance, as the commissioner in charge of internal security and home affairs, even up to when you were in our studio in Abuja, were getting feedback reports on the situation. And so you'd be in a better position to know. And the one thing you wanted Nigeria to know is that the government is not resting on its oars at all on this matter. So once again, I'll say thank you very much for coming on our program. Okay, I think we've lost the signal. So that's our program today. We're going to have to leave it there for another day. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.